StarCast and StarCraft fans, we are back with another match from the round of 16. This time around, it's a ZVZ, Action versus Hyun. I think another exciting match. You know, I'm a big fan of Action. I always have high hopes for him in tournaments, and he's going to be facing off versus Hyun here, another NBC Game Hero player. We saw Tyson just fall to Shine in the previous round of 16 match, but he was also a former NBC Game Hero player. Let's look at the round of 16 bracket. You know, I already talked about how strong the top side of the bracket was. And let's take a look at the bottom side. We've got Action versus Hyun, Mini versus Sharp, Best versus Rush, and Royal versus Noob. So the final three matchups there, all TVP, and pretty stellar lineup right there. You know, my prediction from the top side is I think Hero, the winner of Hero versus Snow, is most likely to make it to the finals. And then let's make some predictions for the bottom side. I think I'm liking Mini's chance in the bottom side, and I also like Rush's chance. But, you know, there's good players here. Action, even though he doesn't seem to deliver in tournaments, he's very strong. Sharp is on a roll, you know, recently. He also made it into the round of 4 of ASL. Best also had one of his best appearances in the ASL. And then we've got Rush, who's consistently doing well in ASL 2. And then Royal, even though I'm a big fan of Royal, you know, he's like Fantasy Junior in my opinion. I did hear through the grapevine that people were saying that Protoss players have seemed to figure him out. So I'm not too sure about his chances to go the distance. And then we've got Noob down here. Noob, I think he's probably the lone man out of the bottom side of the bracket, but I did see him streaming more often these days. He's also very high on the ladder, so maybe there could be some upsets, you know? It's possible. Maybe he could be someone like Beast who goes really far. So let's look at our map picks for today's match. Once again, it is Action versus Hyun. What map do I want to see for Zerg versus Zerg? You know, I think Troy is always an interesting map, especially, you know, in ZVZ, if you can start knocking down those assimilators and, you know, get into some wild build orders. But instead, we've got Standard, we've got Dark Origin, 2-player map. I'm not really surprised about that. Then Retro. I think Retro is a great map, but this is ZVZ. And then Radeon, another standard map. So let's get into today's games. And we're going to be starting off on Dark Origin between Hyun and Action. Okay, in the top left, we do have Hyun, and in the bottom right, we do have Action. And immediately, just looking at the player names, noticing that CSWU tag, and maybe these players have played versus each other more than I had anticipated. Action, you know, is someone that consistently plays in Pro League, whereas I think Hyun is one of those like K-League types of players, but definitely has the skill to take down somebody like Action. But it is ZVZ, you know, anything can happen. You can have some wild openers, you can have, you know, straight up build order counters. And I'm trying to think, is Action someone that plays crazy builds? I don't think so. I feel like in ZVZ I remember seeing him play more macro-oriented builds, but as I say that, there's actually going to be a 9 pool from both sides. And ZVZ is always tricky. You know, if someone tries to just be overly aggressive, you know, the defending player could get an advantage with just building 1 additional drone, you know, maybe 2 additional drones. But sometimes that can be your downfall. And there's the gas from both sides. Now it's also tricky in the sense, I wonder if somebody will go for speed, somebody go for lair, and then we have this discrepancy in gas. Somebody needs to make something happen with their length, with the speed. And then of course the defending player with the lair just needs to hold their ramp. I think the fact that this is Dark Origin, I think we're going to see both players go lair, but I could be wrong. But we can already see the power of the mineral boosting on bottom right, because Action, despite having a mirrored build here, is up 40-50 gas. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but 50 gas. That's almost 1 round of Scourge. So that is definitely a big advantage for him. Now, it ends up actually being... I thought it was speed, but... maybe there was just an animation delay or something. It is Lair from Action here. And meanwhile, also Lair from Hyun. Now, the Overlords both see the Lings moving out. And you can see, actually, Action tried to be a little bit tricky there. He moved across the map and then turned back. But the Overlord spots it. And there's the additional drone that I was talking about. There's the first one being built. And that means that Action is going to have the advantage here the longer the game goes on. He's going to have a little bit more econ. And it looks like Hyun is matching that additional drone, as I saw it just complete right now. Interesting placement of the Lings. I don't really think I've seen players hold this particular spot, the bottom side of the ramp. But I do notice that Action has spent 100 gas. So he's actually going to go Lair into speed. And that means he's going to be the one to try and make something happen here. Both players got their spires coming down. Pretty much identical. Still a 1 drone advantage. 2 drone advantage, actually, for Action. So despite going... I thought he went speed, but now I see the gas is even. I must be, like, misreading this or something. Something's going wrong. Maybe he's getting speed and canceling it. I'm just missing it. But either way, both players are content with to just ling up. Still 1 drone advantage. Saw supply block come in for Action somehow. He built something and canceled it. I don't know how that actually happened, but actually, Hyun has got his hatch coming down at the natural slightly quicker. I think he has more Lings. Barely. There's 12. Okay, actually it is 12 versus 12. I don't know how Action has the same amount of Lings, has more drones, and he's got the same build except for his hatchery being a little bit late, I guess. Well, actually, it's more than a little bit late. It's considerably late. And we've got the Ling standoff here. Who's going to try and make a move? Who's going to try and bust through the containment? This key to me. I mean, John, you're all the way across the map, dude. If this guy had speed and built more Lings, you're just going to lose everything. Because he definitely doesn't have speed here. Oh my gosh, actually Hyun got the better engagement right there initially, but now Action, wow, that turned into a catastrophe for Hyun. Look how many are left over. 8 are left over for Action. He's going to take no damage to these 2 Lings. Okay, that was a big misstep. As long as he doesn't lose any drones here, wow, he is in trouble. It is going to be really hard to deal with 8 Lings plus the mutas. But instead, Action's going to bleed off 3 Lings. That's going to be a little bit of a blunder. Instead, he's going to trade the Lings to try and get this Overlord, so maybe this could be okay. Ooh, can the mutas come back in time? And the answer is yes, Hyun will get there in time. However, a couple of Lings are going to sneak into the main, and there's not that much to defend. It's just 1 muta. The rest of the mutas are across the map. Oh. It's 4 versus 3. Action would win this fight. Oh, no, I think it's 5 versus 4, actually. Yeah, he's going to have to run away. Ends up taking a volley. Also, oh my gosh, a drone ends up falling. Looks like he's not going to lose another one, so that's nice. Okay. I think we're just going to stabilize at this point. That is a lot of Scourge and mutas already, though. I feel like if he was to just go right now, would there be enough for Action to deal with? You know, he's just now got his natural up and running. Like, he didn't have the larva available to build all of these mutas and Scourge like Hyun did. But looks like not going to be able to exploit that slight timing. Instead, he's just going to take his win there, kill a couple of Lings for free. And wow, that is a lot of mutas for Action. He's up 2 mutas. I'd actually make that 3 mutas, 9 versus 6. That is a considerable advantage for him as long as he avoids the Scourge. You gotta feel like this is a favorable position right now. Action, no, not Action. Hyun trying to recover his drone count. He's also got his nat gas up and running, so both players really prioritizing the gas, obviously, with it being ZVZ. And supplies are really close. As long as Hyun continues to build pure muta, I think he can definitely win this game. If he continues to make more Scourge, I don't know about that, because in general, when I watch Zerg versus Zerg, especially at pro level, seems like it's really hard to make these Scourge connections work. So I think I hope he does hold off on building Scourge at this point, because he really just needs to ramp up that Muta count. And it looks like Action is going to be on the move. I think he's looking for that Overlord, but he's not going to be able to find it over here. It's already gotten back to safety. He's got 11 Mutas right now. There is, I think, 9, okay, 10. That's, wow, even more Scourge. So an overwhelming amount of Scourge for, oh, okay, actually it's even Mutas versus an overwhelming amount of Scourge for Hyun. Oh no, some Scourge connected. Actually, some Scourge connected on both sides. Actually, Action is kind of cornered here. This could be the engagement that Hyun really wants. Scourge coming in through the left side. Mutas. I think Hyun wins this battle, man. The Scourge are trying to get some connections. Action is desperately running away. He's going to lose some more Mutas in the process. Ooh, big shots. Okay, I'm going to say Hyun won that battle. I feel like he got more connections. I think he has a Muta advantage slightly. However, this double Ling attack at the natural and the main, even though it's just 2 Lings, has ended up forcing a full drone pull. That is going to be a lot of lost mining time. That is a big win for Action. Huge win. So he's going to have a massive advantage in the econ in the next minute or so. Just needs to let all that econ advantage start kicking in. But supplies are still in favor of Hyun. Not sure how that happened, and he ends up canceling something. Maybe he built drones, decided that he can't drone up, and instead wants to build Mutas. Either way, another Scourge dies. And that's a... Man, I feel like Hyun's in the driver's seat as long as he can recover his econ, which it does look like he has done. It's like a 9... Okay, maybe it's not as many Mutas as I thought. I thought it was like 9-6, but it looks like it's 7-6, maybe 8-6 in a minute. 7-7, okay. Now, ZVZ, everybody knows how important the +1 armor is, but I think the game is still so low econ, I don't feel like anybody can afford to sneak in that fast upgrade. Instead, we see Hyun mixing in a couple of drones here, and now he's actually got a big advantage, 15 workers to 13. That's going to really start kicking in, unless Action can do something about it. But I don't think Action can do anything about it. He's down supply, even if it's just 1 or 2. And then factoring the 2 drone advantage, you know, just being down 2 means he's actually down like 4, which is obviously massive in ZVZ. Now, Action is spending all of his money very efficiently. I mean, he's not floating anything at all, whereas Hyun is floating some every now and then, but not going to be punished for it. And this is just a great position. The longer Action waits, the better it gets for Hyun. I don't fault him for continuing to just sit here. Of course, he doesn't know that Action hasn't droned, but if he did, he'd be feeling really good about his position now. Another cycle of Lings coming in, but I don't think this is going to do... That is so many Scourge, dude. That is just an obscene amount of Scourge. How do you avoid this amount of Scourge? Wow, that's a lot of Scourge on Action side also. Okay, Action avoided the army initially, but again, I feel like he's getting into another spot where he's going to be cornered. He needs to run. That is so many Scourge connecting on both sides. It actually looks like it went favorably for Hyun once again. Now he gets on top of the Mutas. Hyun, Action can't run anymore. He's just going to fight. He's going to try and micro his way out of it, but I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, actually he does manage to get out of there. And these drones end up getting killed off by a couple of Lings once again. Damn. So that was another big win there for Action. He ends up taking down 5 drones. He's now up considerably in the worker count. Well, he was a moment ago, but he did lose a lot there. He lost a lot in the air, whereas Hyun definitely won the air battle. Like, that's for sure. But big losses on the econ once again. And now it's Action with the supply lead. And now all of a sudden this is looking really rough for Hyun here. Twice he's had his econ disrupted by just 2 Lings. Like, they don't even have speed either. They just somehow avoided the Mutas, get in there and start racking up drone kills left and right. still think Hyun's muta count is about even. But you can see he doesn't nearly have as big of a gas advantage as he did earlier, where, you know, he was floating 500 gas at certain points. Now he's just even in gas. Doesn't have as many Scourge as Action does now. It's, what, 9 Scourge to 6? So big advantage in the air now. Hyun did recover his econ. He's got even worker count, 15 to 15. But I think he needs to be much more careful now. If he loses his econ once again, I don't think he's going to be able to recover. And it looks like Action once more is going to attack because he's got those 2 lanes waiting to move in here. Surprisingly, the 11 mutas aren't the threat. It's these 2 lanes. A drone dies, and we're going to have a huge engagement. Look, 2 more lanes have run into the main, by the way. Scourge. Okay, actually big Scourge hits for Action there. I think he took down a couple of Mutalisks. It's down to 9 for Hyun. But look at this, once again, full drone pull in the natural and in the main. I mean, this is just devastating damage here, man. Like, he's lost so many minerals, but so much gas also. You know, it's 25 seconds to get 100 gas on your off of your extractor. And how long do you think his drone was off? Maybe 15 seconds? So he's losing, you know, 50 gas every single battle, which is huge. And during that, Action snuck in a couple more drones, so he's just compounding his lead here, man. I am happy that we did get, you know, a somewhat long game in ZVZ. This is looking like we're going to at least get to the 15-minute mark. But this was still just a Muta-Ling victory from one side, probably, unless some type of miracle happens where someone has a clutch defense and we can get into late game. And it looks like Hyun is starting to see the writing on the wall that he needs to be on the offensive, so here he comes. Ooh, Scourge, a couple connect. More than a couple connect right there. But I think the rally point is just too big an advantage for Action. I think that the Scourge connections were really good for Hyun, but it's too big of an eco lead, and this is going to be Action taking game 1. Hyun is massively committed here. He gets a lot of drone kills, ends up saving some of his Mutalisks, but that was too big of a swing. This is like 9 mutas versus 3 now. Yeah, that was a massive swing. And if Action realizes that, I think he can just counter and probably just take the game. Just like Hyun, I heard some cancels go off on the larva. I guess he was droning, or maybe he was building mutas and realized, like, well, I can't afford mutas, maybe I need to go into Scourge instead. No, actually, looks like he was probably building mutas and instead canceled those to get more drones. Alright. Well, this does buy Hyun some time to get his mutas up. And critically, I see +1 armor actually did kick in for Hyun. So he does have the upgrade advantage, but he's just down so much in terms of mutas that I'm not sure if +1 armor can overcome that deficit. However, there are no Scourge for Action anymore. And he's just going to try and commit here. I don't know, man. He needs to run away. It looks like he's going to get caught. It's 11 mutas. He's going to try and fight now. Whoa, a lot of Scourge connect. What? He lost so many mutas. What happened? He lost so much? Why didn't he have any Scourge? He's going to lose his entire muta ball. And Hyun took almost no losses. Like, yes, I realize he lost like 3 or 4 mutas there, but hey, I'll trade 3 or 4 mutas for 10 mutalisks. Are you crazy? And this got completely turned on its head. Now, +1 armor is really strong, but it ain't that strong. I don't know how Action messed this up. He just was way too confident with it. With his mutas, it's just bare. Like, they were completely alone. I didn't even see a Ling counterattack at the same time either. So now, he lost all of his mutas. He's still up in workers, I guess. But Hyun has a +1 armor advantage. He has Scourge advantage. He has obviously an overwhelming muta advantage. And now, this is almost an impossible task for Action to recover from, as long as Hyun engages. He's gonna pick off these drones. Those are gonna die. He's gonna get all 5 drones here. Oh my gosh, this was a complete catastrophe for Action. He can't even counter now. He's got to stand and fight. He's going to lose everything. There's no way he can win this battle. There it is, GG. I cannot believe it. I thought Action had a massive advantage. How big of an advantage do you need? Think about how many times he disrupted the mineral line and the gas. What was it, 3 times he did that? He killed 5 drones in one fight with 2 Lings. I cannot believe that Hyun ended up winning that game. I just can't believe it. So Hyun, I'm going to say he stole that game because really it looked like Action was in the driver's seat. But now, Hyun is 1 game away from eliminating one of the strongest Zergs in the tournament. So let's get into game 2 and see if he can do that. All right, in the bottom left, we do have our yellow Zerg. It is Hyun. And in the bottom right, misstepping a little in game 1, we do have Action. And Krrrrzzz just mentioned to me that he thinks that if Hyun was to take StarCraft as seriously as these other pros are taking StarCraft, he thinks that Hyun could be a top, round of 16, round of 8 player in ASL. I mean, that's crazy, man. I mean, Hyun's definitely very good, but I didn't know that he was that good. But after his game 1 victory there, I mean, that was impressive because he was definitely at a deficit. But Action, I guess maybe he wasn't as big of a lead as I thought. Maybe those mutas were more damaged than I anticipated. Well, we do have a discrepancy in builds this time. It is going to be a 9 pool from Action here, whereas Hyun is setting up for, well, I guess we really don't know just yet. He has the option to go overpool. He could go 12 pool, he could go 12 hatch. But if he goes 12 hatch, he's going to be in trouble. So I'm hoping that it's going to be either an overpool or a 12 pool. And overpool timing has come and gone. So now we're at the point where you really hope that this is a 12 pool. But I do not see the pool coming down. Okay, there we go. It is going to be a 12 pool. And as you know, I'm clearly a Zerg versus Zerg expert, obviously. I feel like 12 pool is a really good opener versus 9 pool gas. He's going to be able to have Lings in time to hold his ramp. He's going to have Lings in time to hold his natural, which is where he's most likely going to put his hatchery. And his gas, yes, he's going to be down in gas, but it's only going to be about maybe 100, 125. And he can just skip speed to make that back. He can also have 3 on gas, whereas Action can't really have 3 on gas, right? So overall, this feels like build order win for Hyun, and it's going to be on Action to make something happen. He's going to see the bad news that this guy has definitely gone for 12 pool and fast hatch. I didn't actually see an Action's main if he went lair or speed, but he definitely needs to get some damage done. And here we go, 6 Lings are already across the map. 3 drones had to be pulled. 4 Lings, 3 drones. They will end up holding this. And actually, more and more Lings being built and being sent across the map. That signals to me that this must have been speed. However, he left his ramp completely open. He does get an interception on one of the Lings. Okay, now this is going to get awkward. Speed should be kicking in pretty soon. He does kill 1 Ling. I have noticed that Hyun is not mining gas in his main anymore. So he is going to be down considerably in gas. He's going to have to go into Evolution Chamber here to try and defend versus Fire. And speed, yeah, it has kicked in for Action. So he's trying to test the multitask and the micro of Hyun. And right now, I would say he's doing a good job. He's going to catch these 4 Lings. Why are they there? These are going to die. Well, no, they're not. Oh, the hatchery getting really low. Really, really low. Does Hyun have enough Lings here to engage? I don't think he does. Oh my gosh, that hatch is so close. He's trying to get it. He's trying to get it. He ends up getting it, but at what cost? He lost every single Ling. And just like last game, yes, you did a lot of damage, but he traded his entire Ling count this time. You know, last game he traded his entire muta count and got immediately countered and died. And now we could have the same scenario. Lings are flooding across the map. There's a Sunken coming down, but everybody knows Sunkens are really not good versus Lings. However, some free kills for Action here, and I think with these free Ling kills, he should be able to hold. Now, what can Hyun do? He's going to try and rebuild his hatchery. But you know what I would like? I would love to see non-stop Lings pull 2 drones and go for a sunken push. Right now, the Overlords are out of position. They would not see them move across the map. But it doesn't seem like that's going to be the play from Hyun. Instead, he's just going to try and power out of it. But Action's econ is devastated. He has 7 drones, man. He has no econ. He's pretty much not able to mine gas at all. I think he has 1 on gas and 6 on minerals. Maybe 2 on gas, 5 on minerals. But his econ is really shot. And with 14 drones, I think for sure Hyun here can play this out and recover and, you know, maybe get us into a mid-game here where we can have spores, you know, Mutalisk also on his side, maybe even get into Queen's Nest if Action can somehow recover his econ and take his own natural. Fire about to finish. Mutas are going to be on the way pretty soon. And in Hyun's main, I see that the evolution either started or has already finished. So he is definitely going to have spores in time. And there's enough Lings here that there's no way that you can do a Mutaling, you know, combo attack to try and push some Lings into the main and get some kills. Like, that's just not going to happen. So right now, this, once again, looks like it's going to be advantage Hyun. And Action trying to get in here and get some kills. He's gotten some Ling kills, actually. Where are the rest of the Lings? The rest of the Lings were across the map. And that means that Hyun gets some more kills. Oh, really nice move there. Only 1 Ling gets in. And spores are going to complete for both sides. And that's what I wanted to see. Is I wanted to see the lair timing for Hyun. His lair is done. I mean, so Spire can start relatively soon. And I do not see a hatchery down for Action just yet. I think if he's going to try and come back into this game, he's got to get that hatchery down ASAP. And there it is. He finally puts it down. He may even consider trying to go into, well, maybe I'm just talking crazy talk here, but maybe he needs to go into like a 3rd hatch and really just get his larva count or his available larva higher and higher to catch up. Because right now he's down a considerable amount of workers. I don't think he's going to be able to recover his worker count unless he can get some more larvae available. But building a 3rd hatch like that, that's going to be really expensive. So maybe I'm just completely wrong there. Maybe it's just going to be a slow grind for him to try and claw his way back. But hatchery is, or not hatchery, Spire is halfway done for Hyun. He's got his nat gas coming up. It is a 5 muta advantage for reaction. I'm trying to factor in 5 mutas plus 200 gas, so that puts him at 700 mined. And we can see that Hyun is pretty much at 400 gas mine. So he's down about 3 Mutalisks at this point, but with his second gas kicking in, as I stated, you know, it only takes 25 seconds to get 100 gas. So that means at a minute 15 after mining this natural gas, he's going to be even in gas with Action. And Action still doesn't have his nat gas even started. Man, Hyun, this is just such a great position for him. He's also got good econ, like good mineral econ too, so he can put down a 3rd hatch himself pretty soon. He could start going into a Queen's Nest if he wants. He could go into +1 armor if he wants. Just a really, really nice spot to be in. Also with the quadruple spore, he doesn't have to worry about being counterattacked. If Action moves out of position, like way too far out into the map, Hyun can just counter, kill the drone line, and be confident that he's not going to lose both his main and natural. I also think Hyun should consider just getting +1 armor. Like, he can afford to go +1 armor, man. And I think at this point right now, the only way Hyun can really be in a bad position is if somehow Action hit a base. So I hope that these Lings actually scout for hidden bases. And it looks like that's exactly what he's doing. He's checking top left, he's checking top middle. He knows about mid-right. There's obviously nothing there. And I guess he technically didn't go into the main at top right, but so far he's done an okay job scouting. But if Action did hide a base, I think that Hyun could possibly be in trouble. But of course, we know that he hasn't. And I think all you got to do as Hyun here is just let your lead compound. Let all that gas coming in through the natural kick in. Get your third hatch up and running. Maybe let your +1 armor kick in if he started upgrading that. And what's that going to be? Is that going to be a third hatch? Is that going to be like an evolution chamber? Something definitely got built there. Okay, it's a colony, but I don't think he has an evolution chamber. So maybe that's intended to help out versus a Ling counterplay. Oh my gosh, massive engagement. Okay, Hyun has +0 armor. Action, I think. Oh my, whoa! I don't even know what just happened, but I saw a lot of Scourge connect. I guess they all connected on different Mutilis, and Action just realized he can't win the fight. He taps out, and that was an abrupt end there. And surprisingly to me, Hyun ends up winning the series 2-0. I guess I have misjudged this guy's skill. You know, as krrrrzz mentioned, he thinks that Hyun could be a top 8 type of player in ASL, and he just completely obliterated Action in Game 2. I think he had good crisis management in Game 1. Really good comeback there, and man, that was some solid play. So well done to Hyun. He's going to be moving into the next round. Let's see our bracket. Our bracket should be Hyun moving into the next round versus the winner of Mini and Sharp. Now that's going to be a really tough matchup because Mini, I mean, this guy's a killer. Like, I would argue he's probably the best Protoss overall. Of course, for those of you that watch StarCast, you know, I think versus Terran, no one even comes close to Snow. But as an overall player, I think Mini may be the best. And then Sharp, you know, he's on fire these days. Like, he made top 4 ASL. So this is going to be a really tough matchup for Hyun. But if you're taking down someone like Action, you definitely got the skills to take down players of that caliber. So hey, anything could happen there. But that is it today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you want to support the StarCast TV channel, definitely becoming a Patreon supporter. All the money goes towards creating tournaments like this and creating sponsored matches like the Revenge Battles. So definitely consider becoming a Patreon supporter. And with that said, I look forward to seeing you in the next matchup, which will be Sharp versus Mini.